Hi, this is John Rowell for the Rowell Report. Today is Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, and we are truly into the amateur hour in diplomacy. President Trump is taking the lead in this whole process of um, putting forth the amateur hour in diplomacy. So, first, President Trump has sent an ultimatum to basically to Ukraine and telling Vladimir Zelensky that he had to sign this document by November 27th and or else. And first, he never explained what the or else was. So, or else, I will call you and scream at you on the phone, or else I will delay shipments of weapons by one day, or else um, I won't invite you to my big fancy party, or else I won't allow you to stay in one of my hotels. Um, what is the or else? So first, Trump puts out an ultimatum with really this amorphous or else. We don't know what the or else is. And then he did so basically uh, creating this document in the small little group um, of people of confidence of President Trump. We got Witkoff, we got Rubio, we got Vice President J.D. Vance, we had Rubio, Jared Kushner. So none of these people are really truly diplomats. Um, and so they are creating a diplomatic document without any experience in diplomacy, and this is a generic document that seems to try to find a middle point between Russia and Ukraine and fails at really providing a document that either side could sign. Also, the document includes a lot of money going from Ukraine and Russia to the United States for some infrastructure project, something that we know the U.S. is terrible at. They demonstrated that during their many years in Iraq. All the money that was put aside for all these infrastructure projects and went off to all these highest bidders, or possibly just friends of President Bush. Well, many of those infrastructure projects were never built. So we have, infrastructure projects. He mentions about the SALT Treaty, which has nothing to do with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We have in there, the use of the Russian frozen assets. Russia will give to the United States $100 billion. Well, we know that the U.S. is terrible at making use of money. We have the $7 trillion spent in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan substantially was never improved in any way, and so all this money just goes to people who builds, all these little gimmicky things that could somehow, serve Ukraine, but in the end, they are just phantom projects where that, like sponges and absorb up all this money and never does anything. So anyway, we had this fluky 28-point peace plan, and then it becomes an ultimatum. Sign it or else. So and then we have here our good friend, well, maybe not good friend, the leader of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, who, when she was the German defense minister, had given soldiers broomsticks so that they could do war games. And she was one of the worst defense ministers for Germany. And here she is sticking her nose in this matter, but she doesn't have any. She's not a leader of a sovereign country. She's the leader of the European Union, which is a union that was created for economic development and parity of all the member states. So here she is sticking her nose in. President Trump doesn't say anything, like you don't have any say in the matter. Go back and figure out how the European countries are going to have increase their GDP. I mean, that would be good for Ursula to do, but not stick her nose in this. But anyway, President Trump doesn't say anything. And so here we have about the ultimatum. Earlier, Trump confirmed that he had given Kiev until 27 November to accept his administration's proposal to end the war with Russia, saying deadlines can be extended if things are working well. So it isn't a deadline. And says Thursday is, we think, an appropriate time, Trump said in an interview with Fox Radio when asked if he had given Ukraine until next Thursday to agree to a 28-point peace plan to halt the conflict. So he's given them an ultimatum, given them a date, and then told them that that date is basically symbolic and not really a deadline to sign the ultimatum. So anyway, and we have here further down, according to 3 sources cited by Reuters, Ukraine was developing an alternative to the 28-point plan in coordination with Britain, France, Germany. So Britain, France, Germany, instead of supporting the United States, and the United States not having first received the support or the commitment of Britain, France, and Germany to support this plan that President Trump was putting out, they're going to come up with their own plan. So if the U.S. is the leader of NATO and basically tells NATO nations what they need to do, it's certainly not being shown here. Again, amateur hour. You could fax those points to those nations and tell them that they are to support this, and eventually there could be a further document, but for the moment you want their support. But anyway, they jump ship with Ukraine, and they're going to come up with their own document. So basically, they're already telling President Trump that they're not interested in the 28-point peace plan, and he's not convincing them that there is an or else if Ukraine doesn't sign it. So again, amateur hour. Here we have the U.S. This is from The Guardian, and you have the previous information that I showed was from my Eurovit website, I believe, and I'll put all that link below. And by the way, if you have any comments to make about this video, please do so. Also, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for supporting this channel. So anyway, moving on. J.D. Vance, the vice president, has a friend, Dan Driscoll, I guess a college roommate or something. And this college roommate, who's a Army secretary, was given the 28-point peace plan to deliver to Zelensky. And not only that, he met with the European ambassadors, telling them that they should not question this deal. This is something that they should have done, that the U.S. should have done before putting out this 28-point peace plan. Send this document to your allies, say, you need to support us in this. But no, they wait till it's already delivered to Zelensky, and then they have a meeting with these European ambassadors to say, hey, you got to support this. But, diplomacy is first you gather you gather a working document, you gather your friends, your allies, your supporters, and then you put that document out. You don't put the document out and then scramble to try to get everyone on your side. So anyway, more amateur hour stuff. And Dan Driscoll, was he a participant in this meeting? Does he even know why they came up with these 28 points? So he can't really explain how they came to these 28 points, and yet he's going there to demand that Zelensky sign it. Why not involve Keith Kellogg if he's the envoy to Ukraine, and Dan Driscoll could go with Keith Kellogg to Kiev, deliver the document, then they could meet and talk and laugh and sing and cry and whatever they want to do. But anyway, here comes somebody out of the blue from nowhere to deliver this document, doesn't have any knowledge of how this document was originated. And so we had the mood in the room was somber, with several European ambassadors questioning the content of the deal. Well, if you would have put the deal out first to the European countries and asked them to support this, of course they would have leaked it to the press. But if you would have come up with a document that they could support, then you have them on your side, and then you go to Zelensky. Now he's really by himself. But the way it turns out, it's really the U.S. that's by itself. So you say, and he's saying that Ukraine doesn't have cards. Well, the cards are right in front of you. These European countries are willing to put forward, the money, supplies. They're willing to provide political support. So those are the cards that are right in front of you. So you can't tell them that there's no cards. So again, amateur hour. This guy is from the army. Of course, he was told, tell them there are no cards. Okay, sir. Okay. So anyway, we got amateur hour again. And this is just becoming embarrassing. So anyway, then now we have, here's from the BBC, Ukraine allies voice concerns over U.S. plan to end war. And so here we have the Europeans. What do? Do we support Trump? Do we support Ukraine? Well, of course, they're going to support Ukraine because they have the coalition of the willing. Yes, the most powerful, the most dedicated, the wisest, the most effective organization on the planet, the coalition of the willing. They have been behind Ukraine, and they have promised so many things, which of course they haven't delivered. But anyway, they want to keep promising because it keeps them in power. Because, look, I believe Macron has 11% support. Keir Starmer, what does he have? 13% support. And Stubb from Finland, who knows? And this guy over here, another European Union bozo, who doesn't seem to understand that there's no purpose being there. So anyway, we have President Trump delivering this document by Dan Driscoll, who wouldn't be able to explain how they came up with this document, and then telling everyone, you have no cards. So anyway, so fine. We have a date that President Zelensky is supposed to sign this document. We have an ultimatum that he has to sign it. He doesn't have a choice. This is the final document. He has to sign it. No way out. Okay. And then here we have this BBC. Later on Saturday, U.S. President Donald Trump said the draft plan was not his final offer for Ukraine. So it isn't an ultimatum. An ultimatum which isn't an ultimatum. So this is the apex. This is the move to the top of the class, where they can get the dunce cap and go into the corner. Okay, you're gonna tell Zelensky he has until November 27th to sign a document, and then you say that this isn't the final document, so there's no obligation to sign anything by any date. And he said this was not his final offer, and then he said that that the date could be extended if there was good progress. So both the date and the document um, uh, are not final, so it isn't an ultimatum. So President Trump delivers an ultimatum, which isn't an ultimatum, with a document which isn't the final document. So anyway, more amateur hour stuff from the Trump administration, and unfortunately, doing things by I think they say by the seat of your pants, on the fly. Um, this is not working out at all. In fact, uh, so again, it repeats here. When asked on Saturday whether the current draft plan was his final offer, not my final no, not my final offer. One way or another, we have to get it ended, the war. So we're working on it. So this is just about ending the war. This isn't about signing a document. This isn't about the document itself. This is about ending the war. This is about freezing the conflict, which has been the purpose of President Trump from the beginning. That's why he picked Keith Kellogg. He didn't include Keith Kellogg in this whole matter because he wanted to make it clear that this wasn't about freezing the document. This was about solving the conflict. But when you drill down into the document, this is all just about freezing the conflict, stopping it. So again, more amateur hour stuff. And incredible here. Here's from The Guardian. President Macron warns G20 risks losing relevance. And here we have in the BBC that the G20 decided, well, we're going to be relevant. We're going to make a statement. So we have Canada, Finland, France, Ireland, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, Spain, UK, Germany, Norway, 11 countries. And so these 11 countries all want to be relevant. They all want to show that that they can resolve conflicts. So we're going to have a meeting on Sunday in Geneva. I think I lost my place here exactly where we have that mentioned. But anyway, we have a meeting coming up on Sunday. Okay, here's talks in Geneva on Sunday. So we have U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Again, we have two people who are involved in the document. So now it looks like we're attempting to do diplomacy, maybe. We'll be among those taking part in the talks in Geneva on Sunday. National Security Advisor Jonathan Powell will attend on the UK's behalf. So one of the three countries out of the G20 is not even represented by their primary leader. Again, amateur hour. If this was so important, then Trump would have told Keir Starmer, you be at that meeting. But no, it's okay. Just send somebody, who doesn't have any, he doesn't have any real power. And about those G20 countries which are losing their ability to impact world events. So again, we have those 11 countries that signed this document, and 3 of those will be in Geneva. Why aren't all 11 countries in Geneva? And even worse, just think of all the countries that are impacted by the Ukraine war. We have Belarus to the north. We have Poland to the west. We have Hungary and Slovakia to the southwest. We have Romania and Moldova to the south. And are any of those countries at that meeting in Geneva? So no, they're not at that meeting in Geneva. Again, amateur hour. If you were trying to solve a conflict and you wanted countries to be involved who that would be impacted by this conflict, you would involve those countries, even if they're small little countries, and they don't have big militaries and whatever. Um, so anyway, we got the France, UK, and Germany. They don't share any border, and the France and UK, they're just basically the winners of World War II. So they get to show up for every meeting and stick their noses in these matters because they have a right to, because along with the U.S., the UK and France were the big winners of World War II, so they can show up anytime they want to and make big statements and tell everyone what to do, rather than taking into account the countries that are actually around Ukraine that could be impacted by this conflict. So just pure amateur hour. Let's just do whatever, fly by the seat of our pants. Let's just invent, make things up as we go on the fly. And, this is just showing that President Trump, who's now in his second term as president, hasn't learned anything about diplomacy. How about somebody from the State Department who's supposed to be a diplomat represent the United States or be involved in this? Steve Witkoff is a real estate guy. Marco Rubio, well, he was a senator, but he was never really a diplomat. He's just, his only way to get things done is to force people to do that by threatening them, by threatening to overthrow them, by sanctioning them. He has no other, idea about diplomacy. So one guy who is not a diplomat, another guy who doesn't employ diplomacy, doesn't know anything about diplomacy. So anyway, just summarizing up this whole matter, amateur hour from President Trump. These 28-point plans are going to fall apart. I can tell you that the meeting in Geneva, they'll probably edit these points, and Ukraine, Germany, France, and the UK are going to come up with their alternative 28 points. So President Trump has not got the wild horses under control, all these European nations that are running wild and refuse to fall in line. So he has not got them under control, and they're running wild, busting up, the barn and the farm equipment, and all this that they were planning to do to achieve. It seems like the people who are supposed to be the allies of the United States have jumped ship, and they're all trying to do their own thing. So again, the U.S. has not carried out any diplomacy. Diplomacy is you start from grassroots with the key players, you discuss, you come up with an agreement, and you try to develop that into a full working agreement with all the details. But no, we're going to come out with an ultimatum, and then we're going to tell everyone that they have to accept it. And so anyway, this is this is a peace plan that's not going to fly. And so it's unfortunate that in the United States we can't find any real diplomats to carry out diplomacy, that we continue to employ individuals who are very well intentioned but have no ability in this matter and will only mess things up. So anyway, that is my video for today, Saturday, November 22nd. Again, if you have any comments to make, you like the content, you don't, please leave a comment below. I'll leave a link to each of these resources in the description, and you're welcome to like this video if you liked it, subscribe and share. I appreciate your support so this channel can continue to grow. And again, wish you the very best. Have a good day. Bye-bye.